only one society, and that is a Nazi party. There may be no secrecy about that in the new Greater Germany.
One by one, he attacked each minority and he split them off one from the other. These men were all fellow Germans when they came here today. Now they were split into rival groups, suspicious of each other, hating each other. They were being swindled, all of them. But the man who was really being fooled was Hans. He was pure German, according to Nazi standards. To him they promised everything, and he fell for it. That's how Hans became a Superman. They gave him a uniform and they pumped up his ego. He wasn't just a little fellow out of work anymore. He was a member of the master race. Hans and thousands of others.
Something's wrong. I can't do this.
Subversion is the term, if you look in a dictionary or criminal code to that matter, usually is explained as a part of activity to destroy things like religion, government system, political, economical system of a country.
Hello out there. Now, there's a video that I've been meaning to do, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning where I am in the eastern United States, and I just thought that I should share with you my hypothesis of the coming and the bringing in of the New World Order. Now, we've done research and we found out about the 1969 Bilderberg meeting, where they supposedly had this meeting where they brought in and planned exactly how the New World Order was going to be laid out. And they brought in, I guess it was a step-by-step plan. Learned this from a 4-hour video, that I found by searching, 1969 Bilderberg. And I saw the video, it's a 4-hour video, the one with the person wearing the Christmas hat. What you don't know, or what's not out there, is how I've been watching these events since the late 80s, early 90s, where I remember Bush mentioning on the national TV after they broke up the USSR that we needed a new world order. And it was probably around that time that they began meeting with, underworld figures and, radicals all over the world. I remember they started showing them as meeting, but they didn't really tell us what the meeting was about. But here's what I saw, and then I'll tell you how I put this together. So it's not actual fact. It's just something that you can view and think of on your own and see what you come up with. But Bush lost the election in 1992. And I don't know if you remember where you saw the sad look that he had on his face when they lost the election. It was like if they were planning to run the New World Order from the United States, they had to have a contingency or a backup plan on what they would do if they lost the election. And I remember seeing or learning that Bush weakened the powers of the presidency before he left office. And in doing so, I think what he did was he delegated or gave some of his power over to the chief justices. So when Clinton took office, the press was referring to him as an already weakened president. And they thought it had something to do with, the position of his wife, Mrs. Clinton. But no, I think it was more about that, but nobody really knew it. And then later on, we had the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Y'all know about that. Just think about this. If the Zionists who ruled this country and pretty much, put a bunch of propaganda on TV and made themselves look good and like heroes, and slowly took over all of these other nations and put together this plan to bring about this New World Order. If they realized that they would lose this, how would they even ensure that they could still implement and run their New World Order? My guess would be that they would strip the country of its power and run a New World Order elsewhere. So, to do that, they would have to secretly strip and rip out the infrastructure which made America what it was, which is all of the OPECs, the oil that backed the dollar, all of their rich deals that backed the dollar, all of the laws in place that kept the people from the country from outsourcing and going anywhere else. So it will force all of the countries and everybody in the world to come to America or do business with America in order to get what they need to survive. If they stripped and ripped out all of that and set up overseas, well, for them to start building all of these businesses and just stripping and ripping it out, they would have to do it in secret, and they would, because it's illegal, they'd be going against the very law that they set up to protect themselves and keep themselves in power. So how would they ensure that they would be able to do that and nobody would really pay attention to what they're doing? And even if somebody paid attention to what they were doing, they had something else in place that was more prevalent or more attention getting. They would need a distraction. And I guess that distraction was probably the Monica Lewinsky scandal. And I did a study and found out that Monica Lewinsky and her handler, Linda Tripp, were listed as cult members, and Linda Tripp was her handler. So I would put together that they knew this girl, Monica Lewinsky's stature, and they deliberately put her next to a president with his background or with what they knew about him, because remember, you don't get into these high offices without joining the club. So they just knew what will happen, and they just pretty much put the fire next to the dynamite, and they just waited for the wick to lit and blow up. Well, they waited for the wick to lit And as soon as she got on the phone and started talking to her handler about it, her handler recorded the conversation and leaked it to the press. Boom, bomb. Everybody's paying attention to that. Nobody's paying attention to what's going on. And I got a tip on some information that a bill had come across the president's desk in 1998 that he did not veto. And that allowed the first company to begin outsourcing. But nobody really knew this. But when the Republicans took office back in 2000, everybody then started to see a rise in outsourcing then, where outsourcing was no longer illegal. It had become legal, and they had already ripped out the infrastructure and began taking it out. But I think at the same time, if they raised all of these other radical armies and insurgents and terrorists, let's just call them what the world knows them as, then they would use their terrorist identity to do certain things. Now, you should know that in 2004, when the beheadings were on TV, that was a cult. That was a occult message to all of the Illuminists around the world to begin implementing the New World Order that at the time had come for them to start implementing the New World Order. People that it was a message to high Illuminists. Only the highest Illuminists knew about this stuff. And 2 years after that, they began going full steam ahead with implementing the World Order. And everybody started seeing all of this strange stuff. And my guess would be that if you get to that certain point, by then all of the terrorists that you helped to build, that you did all the dirt through, that they did all the dirt through, and used the identity of the terrorists to get their messages across, to get all this stuff done. And at the same time, they built those terrorist armies. And a lot of people who joined these terrorist groups, under the guise of, freedom, enact movement, or whatever, they'll have no idea how their movement got started. And so by the time, if it got so large, then they began to slowly bring their members out of it. So the only thing that are left are the actual groups that they trained. And we would know this nationally on TV as them nationally training the security forces overseas. But we really don't know what they're doing. They could be training the terrorists. I don't know, but then at a certain point, the terrorists pull out. Or, I'm sorry, not the terrorists, but the Zionist members who built the terrorists, they pull out and let the terrorists go. And so then the terrorists would go ahead and start doing their world tyranny or whatever. And they would be allowed to do exactly what they want them to do. The terrorists would go and destroy the orders and the laws of the lands, so that everything could be wrecked and in shambles, and the terrorists could roam freely and do what they want and have all the people follow them. But what they really wanted these terrorists to do was to destroy their own legal systems, all the systems that made their country what it is, because, of course, for them to show up and offer aid to sick and all of these other, offer aid and relief, they would have to show up and look like the heroes and save people from the state of emergencies, which is somehow going to be enacted on them. We don't know in what forms they're going to come in, but these people were well prepared for this stuff, if that's true. Well, if that's true, that means that the Zionist members who began this movement, or the movement, are no longer a part of those governments, because they would then be the quote-unquote police, or people waiting to save the people after everything goes from sugar to chaos. And I guess this is just what I have put together. I've been wanting to do a more interactive and detailed 3D graphic video, but I don't have the equipment and I don't have anyone helping me do this. So this is the only way that I can talk to you. I know it's probably not as exciting as most of us are trained by.
Hello?
Television programming to only accept programs that are pleasing to our eyes visually and to our ears auditorily. We are, yes, programs that are pleasing to our, of anyone helping me do this. So this is the only way that I can talk to you. I know it's probably not as exciting as most of us are trained by television programming to only accept programs that are pleasing to our eyes visually and to our ears auditorily. We are, yes, they spend a long time programming and brainwashing us. This began as a country of moral, religious belief. But when they took power and took control in 1870, and this place then became property of the crown, and it started implementing all the laws where we as the people would be property of the crown, implementing all the laws where we as the people would be declared war upon. All of these were already in the legal system. Well, I mean, all in the property system, but they had to figure out a way to implement it and enforce it and get us to accept it. And they took their careful, sweet time putting that together. That's a hypothesis. And if that's true, and if we really are a country of moral, religious character, the way it started, our God, of course, is real. In America, our laws are Christian-based, which were designed to protect us, citizens of America, from religious persecution. And our laws go completely against what the order wants to set in. But if they could entice you and have you believing and accepting that the order would mean not only mean safety, but would mean all of these new free toys and great technology that you can only get if you accept them, and get you addicted to it. I mean, there are companies that spend millions of dollars figuring out how to keep your attention and keep you addicted to their technology so that they can sell it. Yes, we're cattle. Yes, we're property. Yes, we're toys. And they want to figure out how to get us to accept it and love it. While they herd us all off to the slaughter while we stay asleep in a dream. So basically what I'm saying is, if that's true, we were awakened out of one dream and then put into another. Well, will we be put into another? I guess we're in a state of awakenedness. But just like on the Matrix, where the architect tells the guy, Neo is not beyond their control, visual control. They already planned for his coming. I'm guessing they planned for the insurgency too. So that's something to think about. And leave comments, think about it. And I'll talk to you soon.